For the short term, you will lose weight, but every single study that has been done shows that the patients or the people gain their weight back within 4 days of resuming a normal diet. Our body has this way of knowing what our set point body weight is. We have to do the things and understand the things that make our body or made our body get to that point of feeling like it needed to hold on to that weight. All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Jacque Show. I'm so excited to go into this. We're going to do some series on topics, and this first series is going to be revolving around weight loss. So the first category or so that we're going to be going over is the 3 things that you need to know to successfully lose weight. And so our goal in this show is to kind of break the mold and how to lose weight. And my goal is for you to fully understand that it's not necessarily the old recipes in of like calories in, calories out. It's actually a lot more to that, or there is a lot more to that. First and foremost, calories need to be understood for what they are. Calories are energy for the body. So to say that calories make you fat, not all created equally, but calories are designed to be fuel for the body. Right? You wouldn't be upset if it was a cold winter's night and somebody brought you 500 pounds of firewood. You'd be like, oh, great. I can throw this in the fire and I'll have fuel. I'll have plenty of energy coming off of this, right? Because energy cannot be created or destroyed, right? It's just past. When it comes to the body, we have to understand that mindset-wise, cutting calories is going to cut our energy. Right? So cutting calories is going to cut our energy. If you don't believe me, look at people who get on that HCG diet. They drop their calories down to 500 calories or below. I mean, I even had a buddy in Texas who did this style of dieting. He lost weight. Sure, absolutely. He lost weight, but he couldn't walk up to the top of the stairs without falling over, without his wife having to pick him up. So calories need to be understood for caloric energy. It's energy for the body. It's what our body does with this calorie that becomes the problem. Weight gain isn't something that just happens. There is a side effect, or it is a side effect of choices, of decisions, of stressors that we've had and that we've accumulated over the years. So we're gonna break all this stuff down. Before I go crazy here, I'm just gonna get into this here. So let's do it. So again, calories in, calories out. That's the old school way of thinking. You're fat because you eat too much and you don't move enough, right? And to an extent, some of that can be true. If we're eating a lot of processed food and a lot of horrible foods and a lot of foods that are going to constantly be taxing the pancreas, it's going to push you towards being type 2 diabetic. Yeah, we need you to get up. We need you to restrict the horrible calories that you're eating and swap them for healthy calories to eat. Also, it's a great thing for you to move because you will burn calories. You'll increase thermogenesis within the body and we'll be able to get some proper blood flow. Your body will start feeling better. We'll start to wash out some of the inflammation that we have within our bodies, right? But the problem comes down to people who eat incredibly healthy, right? We'll just say they eat 2,000 calories a day of just beautifully laid out meals. And they exercise 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, 6 days a week, but they keep gaining weight. So you can't tell me, well, what I need to do now is actually bring down your calories and make you exercise more, right? Because for the short term, you will lose weight, but every single study that has been done shows that the patients or the people will gain weight back as soon as the diet has been ended. And not like a slow gain back, but all of it, in the study that I have right here, the patients gain their weight back within 4 days of resuming a normal diet. Our body has this way of knowing what our set point body weight is. It's what our calibrated normal is. And so in order to decrease that set point, we have to do the things and understand the things that make our body or made our body get to that point of feeling like it needed to hold on to that weight. So what are those things? So if it's not calories in, calories out, we swap the calories, we have the best calories in the world, but you're still gaining weight, then what is it? Right? What is it? It typically has to do with either digestion or stress, right? So digestion or stress. Let's start with digestion. We'll just talk logically here. If you're not having bowel movements, 2 to 4 bowel movements a day, it's going to be impossible for you to lose weight. Okay? 2 to 4 a day is normal, not 2 to 4 a week, 2 to 4 a day. If we eat food all day long, 2,000 calories or so, and we don't have a bowel movement, then we have 2,000 calories worth of food within our GI system that is not able to be removed. Different portions of the GI system are going to be responsible for absorbing certain nutrients, right? Where we start with mastication, we have a breakdown, we have saliva and things being produced in our mouth. We're helping to break down food even before it gets down the esophagus and drops into the stomach. Herein lies problem 1. If we have a problem with stomach acid, which 99.99% of the American population, global population, they have a problem with that, then we're screwed right from the get-go, or we're doomed right from the get-go, which means our stomach cannot break down the food. If the food is not being broken down, that's going to cause inflammation in the gut. Inflammation is going to lead to food sensitivities, leaky gut, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, bacterial overgrowth, fungal overgrowth, right? And we create this toxic environment within our gut. Inflammation from that response, inflammation holds water weight, inflammation has to be stored somewhere, so therefore we gain body weight. Okay? Now, the other thing that stomach does is it sterilizes your food. So if we're not breaking it down, it's one thing not to get the nutrients. We're already going to be malabsorbed, but then we're going to be held susceptible, or we can be susceptible to incoming infections such as parasites, such as bacterial infections, E. coli, salmonella, C. difficile, these other things that come in from the outside, the exogenously, that come in from the outside, and they burden our inside. And what does that do? It causes inflammation, causes damage, causes all these other problems to happen within the gut. That's just the stomach. Now, from birth, one of the first things we get, that we're blessed to get as a newborn baby, is we're typically going to get a round or 2 of antibiotics as we're growing up through childhood. Ear infections, strep throat, whatever it might be, a stomach bug that they can't figure out, there's your antibiotics. So antibiotics are going to alter your gut microbiota. There are now people, doctors, that are trying to promote probiotics for weight loss. Take this probiotic, this will help you lose weight. They're starting to understand that there's a huge correlation and causation between gut health and really everything in the body. So if we want to lose weight, but you're inflamed internally and you're inflamed intestinally, you're not going to be able to lose weight. Or if you do, it's going to be short-lived. The other thing that a lot of people aren't aware of is our thyroids, right? Thyroid, we have our different thyroid hormones. We have conversions. You can use some selenium to help with conversion from T4 to T3. But if we talk about the peripheral conversion, or the conversion of T4 to T3 outside of the thyroid, it takes place down in the gut. So if our gut is inflamed, therefore our thyroid's not going to work properly. I can't tell you how many thyroid conditions are better. And I do put air quotes conditions because it had nothing to do with the thyroid. It had everything to do with the gut. We fix the gut, the thyroid's fine. Fix the gut, you'll start to lose the weight. You'll have proper bowel movements. You'll crave healthy foods. Because what's the other thing? If we have an inflammatory environment within our gut, we have these overgrowths. What are these overgrowths going to be screaming in our heads? Hey, Susie. Hey, Jacque. Eat sugar. Eat sweets. Your blood sugar is low. Have this candy bar. Oh, and eat this, and oh, eat that, right? And it's not like you see anybody who's fat and they have a six-pack. It's not like they have these like floppy arms that are all fat everywhere else and they have shredded abs, right? Or they're not bloated at all. If you see somebody who's overweight or they're obese, their stomachs are going to be gigantic, right? What's right behind there? Your gut. So we need to understand that, listen, we're going to have these certain critters within our bodies that are going to be causing us to crave these foods, these sweets, and these foods and these sweets, they're designed to be chemically addictive within our bodies, which is why if you try to cut dairy or you try to cut gluten, it's a nightmare for a lot of people. People get irrationally mad. Why? Because it's chemically addictive. They go through withdrawal symptoms. They're like, no, I need to have this. I've always had this. My parents said that. What am I going to do with my bones? What about my calcium? Number one, what is my calcium? How am I going to get my calcium? My bones are going to be broken. Oh my gosh. No, it's not true. Eat a healthy, balanced diet. Don't be inflamed. Eat greens that will get your calcium in there, right? Or you can supplement. I'd rather use supplement calcium than take it in from cow's milk. Okay? Anyways, I digress from that. But the point is, if our digestion is not tip-top shape, the rest of our body will also not be tip-top shape. The other thing is, if we have candida overgrowth within our gut, it typically stimulates estrogen production, and then that estrogen production stimulates more candida production. We just keep going over and over and over again, right? And that's going to spill over. We're going to have hormonal problems. Patient's going to be put on birth control. There's your weight gain there too. Increased conversion with estrogen, and there you have more problems. Fix that gut. Probiotics can help, sure, but probiotics are going to be a holistic band-aid for a problem that's a lot more severe than what you may be aware of. Okay, now the third thing, and we'll dive more into these as we go on here. I'm trying to make these as short as possible. The other things is make sure you know how stress impacts your body as well. Now, number one, stress is going to make us crave comfort foods. It's like innate within us. We crave the things as a kid that made us happy, healthy. If we're stressed out, we get a cold. What do we want? We want what our parents gave us as a kid, chicken noodle soup or whatever, broths and things like that they had as a kid. A lot of it's placebo, but I'm not going to go into that. So we crave things that are comforting. We crave things that are not good for us. That's what we crave, right? Because we're stressed. The other thing, when we're stressed, we increase our cortisol. Cortisol over time is going to cause an increase in blood sugar within the body. It's going to cause an increase in insulin response, and therefore we're going to develop insulin resistance. Okay, and I'm going to make these numbers up. Say you have 1 gram of sugar and you produce 1 gram of insulin, or 1 unit of insulin. And it's a 1-to-1 ratio. But then you keep burdening your body with more stress, but also more sugar. And then eventually you start to require 2 units of insulin for that 1 gram of glucose, then 3-to-1 glucose, then 4 units to 5 glucose, and 5. It just gets worse and worse and worse. And we keep expanding that ratio until we develop insulin resistance. Okay, insulin resistance, simply put, is your body's inability to be able to handle the amount of sugar that you take in. Okay, and I don't care if it's gluten-free sugar or coconut sugar or whatever holistic, quote-unquote, healthy sugar it is, sugar is still going to cause a spike in the body of insulin. And if we're constantly causing our pancreas to produce insulin time and time again, we're going to burn out our pancreas. Okay? Which is then going to make us have more fluctuations with blood sugar, which is then going to make us go towards sugary foods. And we keep this cycle going and going and going. The other thing is, with this stress response, men, you're going to develop more estrogen dominant traits. We're going to reduce our testosterone, right? We're going to reduce our level of being anabolic. We're going to have females who are developing estrogen dominance because progesterone drops, estrogen stays high or goes high from that conversion, right? We're going to cause more of a burden on our bodies, more inflammation on our bodies. We're going to have more harm to our bodies. And then we just keep gaining weight. So when you look at weight gain, right, you don't just wake up one day and you have 20 pounds on you. It is a cumulative effect. And if the government wanted nothing else for this year, it's to tell you that you have no other choice than to go on a medication to lose weight. And that's not true. A medication is not going to get to the root cause of this problem. Dietary choices, consistent dietary choices over time, are going to help you to chip away at this weight. If you think about these 3 things, or you try these 3 things, you test, how well you're eating, and you look at the quality of what you're eating, and you look at your gut, and you look at your hormones, you look at your stress, and you're still like, I'm still gaining weight. There are other things that can go wrong within the body that can make you gain weight. They're a lot more in depth. One of them is a lot more out there. I've had several patients that I've worked with that they have accumulated weight over the years as a protection. They had some sort of sexual trauma or some sort of mental abuse, relationship issues, image issues, or you'll have people who competed for years and they're like, screw looking like a bodybuilder. I just want to enjoy my life, so I'm going to binge eat. Right? So they build this wall, this tough exterior around them. Sometimes it's emotional, okay, which also goes into the stress piece, but digging into some of the stuff, sometimes you need a lifestyle coach or a health coach, or you need somebody to kind of peel back those layers, or a somatic breathwork specialist to release some of these hidden traumas that you may not even be aware of. The other piece is more nerdy, more in my field, right? Which I do dabble in that as well, because, sometimes patients trust me more than any other therapist that they have ever been to. And I'm not a therapist, but I've worked with a lot of these problems with a lot of people. So I have a lot of experience in it, probably more so than most therapists do, because therapists are like, how quick can I end this consult so I can give you a medication? I want to fix it. The other piece is if you run something like a metabolomics or like an organic acids panel, oats test, you can see your different pathways. Is there a problem with your metabolism? Can you not break down fats? Can you not break down carbohydrates? If so, then we don't have a proper energy source, and our body is just basically going to store the fat on our bodies. Right? Is there a problem with the mitochondria where we don't have enough energy? Okay, is there a problem with detoxification where your body's like, well, that's fine and dandy, but I can't get rid of any of the toxins that I absorb? Right? Is there mold toxicity? Do we have biotoxin threats? Molds, heavy metals, toxins in our water, right? What is it? These are the things that are layers deep, but you still have to build that foundation of 3 main organ systems like we always talk about: the neuroendocrine, so the adrenals and hormones, the GI system, and the detoxification pathways. Test those things, get your body fixed, get your body right, and you can have that amazing life that you were created to have. Stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to keep on this weight loss theme. I'm excited to continue to roll these out for you guys. If you have any questions at all, as usual, reach out to me. Thanks again for tuning in. See you next time.